Aye. Minutes are adopted. Item number 1 under new business, Tuscaloosa Public Library funding shortfall recommendations. Mayor Maddox.
Yes, sir, and I'm gonna borrow, let's see, there's my packet right here. I sent you a couple of emails that are in your packet discussing funding from the Tuscaloosa Public Library. I know that at the end of last year, we had some cursory discussions about what more could be done for the Tuscaloosa Public Library. So included in your packet is correspondence from Randy, that outlines an initial direction for us to go. This doesn't mean it's the final recommendation on this matter. I think this will be something that continues to evolve with our funding partners, but at least in terms of fiscal year 23, helps the Tuscaloosa Public Library. So the first recommendation that we would have is to fund the actual operating cost of the Weaver Bolden Library. Right now, our funding that we provide them, according to the projections provided by the Tuscaloosa Public Library, and we have Ms. Pearson and the team here today, so you might want to ask them some specific questions. That delta this year is going to be in the neighborhood of $300,000+ that we would be short in funding the total cost of their operations. So that certainly brings into questions about what do we want those operations to be in the future, but the current situation in front of them is we need to make that true. We do this now with para as it relates to the tennis center. Right now, we fund any operational shortfall for that particular center. I would think a funding model similar to that, where at the end of the budget year, they provide a financial statement that shows the operating loss and then we provide the funding. I think that would work very well in this situation for the Weaver Bolden Library. The second recommendation that I have for the council to consider is that we look at providing $2.2 million in repairs, in roof repairs to the Tuscaloosa main branch. They provided in a packet that you got a copy of about a month ago that shows those roof repairs being in that $5 million range. Now, how we arrived at the $2.2 million was looking at per capita population. The city of Tuscaloosa is 44%. This is actually the Tuscaloosa County Public Library. And so we're 44% of the population. So we would take on 44% of that cost. Northport is 14%, and Tuscaloosa County unincorporated, and I know there's some smaller towns in that, but just if you put all that in, is at 42%, and you see that in your email. I would ask that a partnership, if we do this, that we have an agreement with Northport and the county for shared funding on this. As I mentioned in the email and to Ms. Pearson earlier, there may be a better funding methodology. I'm certainly open to that. This was just one idea I put on the table, would certainly be open to that. If we wanted to do the $2.2 million, it would be in my RFFI recommendation coming this April. So I would just include that $2.2 million in that RFFI recommendation. So at this point, that's the recommendation I have for this fiscal year. I would be happy to answer any questions. I know Ms. Standridge would be happy to answer any questions, but I would also encourage you, we have the library team here, that it would be a really good idea to engage them. They can probably get into the micro, whereas we're at the macro. So that's it.
Thank you. And greetings. I did talk with Brian Winter a day or two ago, and I think he's the treasurer. He was not going to be able to be here today, not a problem. But I did suggest to him that we listen today, give it our first shot at airing the questions that occur to us, and then we will get to him any deeper dive questions that would be that would need to proceed to vote, but that we would look to get up on the calendar shortly, promptly. I've got to ask some initial questions that show my ignorance. The Weaver Bolden Library, tell me about that. Where is it? What does it provide? Just get me familiar with that, please.
Ms. Pearson, come join us if you
Sure.
don't mind. Please, come join us if y'all don't mind. I think.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So the Weaver Golden Library is located over in the McKenzie Court Housing Project, and it was part of the Hope 6 grant. It is sort of a community library. It was originally located directly across from the Benjamin Barnes YMCA, and then was moved over when the Hope 6 grant,
The Hope Ticks
Hope
grant.
6 grant, it was,
It was a partnership with the federal government. We received the grant in
It was-
2005.
yes.
Okay.
And part of the
2005,
grant
2006,
was
yeah.
a library within the McKenzie Court.
As part of like a community, creating more of a community type feel there with the housing development. There's a gymnasium there with the police league. And it serves a very niche purpose. It is meant to be within walking distance. It is meant for family programming. They offer a lot of family programming. One of the things that we've done over at the Weaver Bolden branch are, I always forget the name of this one.
Family fun night?
Well, it's Family Funk Night is what we've called it now, but it was developed from a grant that we received several years ago where we went in and started working with families. And one of the things that we sort of learned is that, and that we kind of take for granted, is that not all parents know how to interact with their children and how to sit down and read a book with their children. And so we sort of developed a program around that, and we don't always do read books with the children, but we do crafts and music or different things like that. So we try to do things specific to the community over in that branch.
What have been your successes at the Weaver Bolden branch?
Definitely the Family Funk program, and out of that, we've recently developed it's called a crafting community program, where we're actually going out into the community. We recently went to the New Heights Center and did a program there. So I definitely think that's one of the biggest successes.
I've seen and noticed that there have been many parents utilize that library who would not go on River Road, ironically.
Right.
And so I'm thankful to Chairman Busby, because we spoke last year about this as well concerning this library. And many of my constituents have called me concerning the changing of the days,
Right.
which has been a detriment.
Right.
And I'm grateful the mayor has given us some tidbits to think about, and looking to hear more from you on what we can do to keep that library open as much as possible, because the community at large needs it. What do you see as some of the challenges that you're facing other than financial with the Weaver Bolden branch?
So some of the things, and this is all new, as y'all know, I took over back this summer officially. And going through this, and I mentioned this in my financial presentation, when I started digging deeper into our budget presentations, I realized quickly that we had never given y'all a true picture of what it costs to run the Weaver Bolden Library. We had never really gone and dug deep into what it costs to run the Weaver Bolden Library. And so as we were looking through and sort of going back, when we went back to our business manager and had her go back, there were some things that were left off. There are a couple of nights that we hire some off-duty police officers to be there, especially in the night hours. So that was something that was not included in here. There's some flux, because we were talking about it just last night and this morning, in our equipment line, it is a little bit lower in the year in this that I gave you, because we received ARPA money through the state and it replaced most of the computers at the Weaver Bolden branch. So there will be some we'll have to kind of tweak this and work with it and develop it as we go. But one of the other things that we've really started trying to push is going into the schools and helping the schools out as well. One of the things that we've learned is that the schools get technology, and the way the teachers, well, the time they have to develop the knowledge, the skill set, all of that is somewhat limited. And so we've sort of developed a program where we check out tubs of STEM. So like it's robotics, it's, you know, a craft or whatever. And it comes with a complete curated tub down to the batteries that they need, to the lesson plans, everything. And we'll even go on site and show the teachers how to use it if they want us to do that, or we'll even go on site to do that. That is one area, especially in that community, that I can see, and in those schools, a demand and a way for us to help serve that community.
Mr. Chairman? Jennifer, thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for the job you do, and thank your board for the job they do, because I know that is not easy. Couple things I just want to ask you.
Sure.
I know you're new in the job, you're getting up to speed on everything,
Yes.
but I would love to see some type of strategic plan that you have for the library. This is where we think we're going in the future. But because I know when you came to finance, it was kind of a crazy,
Right.
if I remember the day correct, and as you get older, I forget certain things, but I remember we had 2 or 3 people in here, we were
Very
pressed,
compressed.
we were pressed for
It
time,
was,
and,
yes.
but I was kind of surprised that after the fact that we were told all these things are gonna close and the world was ending, okay? No one wants the library to struggle. We gotta figure out how we fund this, but I would just like to see what that plan is, and this is what we wanna do, and these are what the costs are. And then hopefully we can work with our partners to fund what we need to do for our children, right? I mean, cause I know this doesn't answer your long-term problem.
No.
Right.
This is more of a short-term problem, but long-term, I think it's important that, Mr. Chairman, at some point we see that. And I guess if that's in the next budget, Mr. Mayor, or whatever, that we all sit and talk about, this is what you want to have happen for the library, and how do we get you guys where you want to be? And then hopefully we will get a commitment from Northport and the county that they will join us in that, in the library, you know, making sure y'all are where you need to be. 'Cause
We're currently developing that right now. We should have the plan finished within this month or next month. And we're hoping to sit down
that's-
with y'all and
That's
talk more
perfect.
about this.
I agree with you.
And you'd like to have that conversation sooner rather than later,
Absolutely.
I think, and especially as the mayor's crafting budgets and council people, you know, we start talking about those things. I think the timing is perfect for that, but again, I appreciate you being here today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, and I want to echo, I'm glad we get a chance to evaluate this in a less compressed mode.
Yes.
And, you know, we're coming in the shoot, that's simply the time that was there. I'll allow for any more questions here in this session, but and I'll talk with Mr. Winter as well, but what I would like to be the next step is, I think you were brand new when, it's like, welcome to the job, go through finance committee, here's the number.
Right.
So, given the additional analysis y'all have done about the costs associated with particular adjunct satellite locations, I would like you and Mr. Winter, whatever mix of you, the next meet, to represent us the library's financial condition. What do you have? Where is it? What do you need? Well, I think we've got 2.2 million, assuming Northport and the county's participation, and then we're estimating maybe another 300 related to Weaver Bolden.
From their financial presentation that they've sent over for the packets that you guys have received, we need about 325,000 additional to go there this fiscal year.
Okay.
Thank you.
So-
Right.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
specifically
okay.
for that property.
So and Mayor, you said you plan to put the roofing will work into the RFFI, right?
Yes, sir. We would just make it as part of the overall recommendation, then hold it until we have an agreement with the
Okay.
county.
So Jennifer, if you and Mr. Winter we'll get you back quickly, a week or two. I'll
Yeah.
talk to Brian, see what his schedule is. but give us that presentation on the financial status of the library.
And then I think having that strategic plan will help us to better chart where we're going.
As soon as you, because you're not, I mean, that's not ready.
It
But
may
That
not
as
be
soon
ready,
as
it won't be
it's-
ready next
that's
week,
it.
yeah.
But as soon as you get that, I'd like to, I think that's important to, because I think long-term as we plan the budgets and what we're doing, we need to know where we're going and what's it gonna cost, right? I think that's, goes without saying, sorry.
No,
Mr. Chairman.
I think we're also gonna
Echo.
need some
Mr.
utilization, some utilization metrics for that branch. Is it something that puts us in the ballpark, data-wise, of how much is being used in the community? Okay? Is there anything else, Alderman Matthew,
No, sir.
y'all would like to see next time we get together? And Mayor, I appreciate y'all working on this. I assume the alternative to not getting the cities and the counties and Northport's participation in the new roof is buckets.
Oh, you come visit. I'll give you a tour. My shoes are wet. I've been on the roof
Well,
this
you
morning.
can talk to our legal department. They've been there, done that too.
I think we will be able to achieve this. I know the county has always, with the library, been hand in hand with us. We just need to get that discussion started.
Okay, any other questions? Jennifer, thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 2, approval of amendment to Code of Tuscaloosa for record service rates.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
We're bringing this to you as we do this time every year. This is to increase the normal rate service on our rotation record program that you know is administered by the police department. The rotation record ordinance requires the increase of their rotation record normal rate service, as you see A and B there, based upon the previous year, end of the year CPI. So that is what we are requesting.
What was that, 9,
7.
7?
Yes, sir.
They're not buying eggs, but me and Mr. Lanier are buying eggs.
And the reason we're asking to be doubled up is it's got to be approved by the 31st of January in the ordinance. And it will be effective next Monday upon publication.
All right. Mr. Crowe?
Can I ask a
Yes, sir.
question? What is, just FYI for my purposes, what is a truck, like a big truck? Because we talked about changing, some of those fees, and what is it, I forget, is
I
it call out?
I can't remember what the large trucks are.
Yeah.
These are just normal service.
Yeah, because it would be more than 17,000 pounds,
Yes.
curious.
Those
That's
rates.
not changing?
No, that's not right. That's not changing.
Because I was gonna ask you, had you talked with some of the record services that are dealing with all
No,
this?
the
So this just-
ordinance just says that normal service rates increase.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Motion approved.
Second.
No, you can't approve the motion.
Wow.
You can make the motion.
Well, who made the motion?
He made the motion. I said.
Is there a motion and a second?
Yeah, we just.
All in
had it.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Busby, just for your clarification, because you asked about the CPI number, at some point, you're gonna hear a different number, and you're gonna say, Mr. Bobbitt told us it was 7 in finance on January 31st. This CPI metric is tied to a different metric than most of the other metrics in our code. This one is a end of the year metric versus a January metric.
Yeah.
It-
Well, yeah.
Just so you're aware when you're told a different number in the future, that we
They're not
have
lying about
some
this.
work.
Okay. Noted. Item number 3, review of funding and status of allocations for River District Park. Ms. Standard, you and I got a chance to so this came up as I sit on the TTS board. There was $200,000 that they showed added to their budget as a result of, I thought it was event center, but you and I got a chance to start that conversation sitting here in between meetings.
Yes, sir.
But I didn't comprehend it all. Regardless of whether that issue applies to TTS or anything else that's done through Central, so in our adopted budget, there's a big number for Central River District Park, right?
Okay,
A number.
I'm sorry, so Central River District, so River District Park is a project that, yes, you would see a line item for in there.
Under Elevate.
Well, it's actually under our debt trust fund, because we
trust
issued debt for it, for that project. Are we talking, so I guess I'm just confused, are we talking about the project? Or,
I'm doing a bad job of asking what's ultimately a simple question. There is some amount of money that this council has approved and is aware of is gonna be used to develop Central River District Park, okay?
No, sir.
No?
I think what you, let me ask you, if this is where you're going. Within the River District Fund, which was created in this year's budget, which includes the 15% from Elevate, it includes the 2% lodging tax. As part of that, we included $200,000 under the professional services that would go to TTS to begin, if the city determined to build an event center, would go to begin helping them market that. So it was a $200,000 a year to begin the marketing if the city moved forward with an event center. So those dollars have not been released yet because that decision has not been made.
But that allocation, is that something we approved?
When you approved the overall Elevate budget, yes, and it was discussed as part of the Elevate budget hearing back in September. And when you get those, I know you love all the documents we provide you, but in the multiple spreadsheets that you've seen, really dating back to the whole discussion this summer.
Okay, so what I was trying to, I think you can
Okay.
answer it. What I was trying to get at is in any large category like that, are there any sub-allocations of that money being decided on outside of the council?
No, none of that can be because there ultimately will require budgetary funding contracts by the city council. So,
Right, to release it, but
to
there's
release
no,
those dollars.
there's no telegraphing of that in advance of that approval for release.
Oh, no, sir.
Gentlemen,
any questions?
I think I'm done, thank you. Item number 4. District 3,
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item up for me, I am proud to ask for part of my district improvement funds to go to fund Northridge High School's trip, their marching band's trip to the National Independence Day Parade, of course, on July 4th. They are the only band in the state of Alabama that's been invited to go to that event, and they are in the process of raising money. So they're raising private donations, and I wanted to try to help them there. I'm gonna post something about this, that the Tuscaloosa Education Foundation has been made available, or they're helping them with this, to have tax deductible donations, and they're trying to raise $80,000, and I would like to present that to be approved by the council for $3,000 to go toward that. And then I would also encourage any of my fellow council people who have students at Northridge to consider donating to that also. It's an exciting time for them, and I've talked with a couple of band members, and they are just ecstatic that they're going to Washington D.C. So that should be a good day for them to represent our community. So I'm glad to do that, Mr. Chairman.
okay,
So moved.
second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, disbursement of district funds is approved. Approval of, you have another,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to welcome Ashley Ferry, who's here. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the Neighborhood Bridges program, which is a very important program in our community, and it serves all the kids across the city. and she's gonna present a little bit to that because I am asking that we donate $2,000 of my district funds to Neighborhood Bridges also.
Thank you, Mr. Crowe. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Neighborhood Bridges. It is a software platform, started in a gentleman in Ohio started it. Right now it is in schools in Ohio and Alabama. Tuscaloosa City Schools has a program, Tuscaloosa County Schools has a program. I'm the director for the city program, and basically it is a program where a school counselor or a school social worker may identify a need of a student or that student's family, and then they have the ability to post that need anonymously. And the subscribers to Neighborhood Bridges will then, every time a need is updated, which unfortunately in the city schools is pretty much every day, they will get an email, they can view the needs, and then community members can fill those needs anonymously. So, for example, a counselor may see a need, a child needs a coat and some shoes. That is posted on the website and it is sent out through the subscriber newsletter. Community members can click and fill that need anonymously. They will deliver the item to the central office with the site number, so you don't even know what school it's going to. Or you can make a donation online, and then I will use that funding to purchase the item that the child needs and get it to the school. Obviously, you know, anytime we can get cash donations like Mr. Crowe is providing for us, that gives us the opportunity to fill needs quicker. So I use that anytime we get a cash donation, which we've partnered with the chamber, so we've got some local businesses that are on board and have given us donations. But if we have cash in our account, I can fill a need quickly. But the amount of needs and the nature of the needs is so varied, and it's just a way to ensure that the city school students and their families have what they need. There's no barrier to learning. And I would love to see every council member eventually make a donation because it serves every district, every school in the city school system.
I'm gonna do it.
So I'd be happy to answer questions or
Thank you, Ashley. for
Address.
being here, for what you
No,
do.
thank you for what you do. Yeah, we know.
well, thank you. Thank you.
What you do, and you may know us too, right?
It's just it's a quick way to get things done, and it's boots on the ground. Those professionals are in the schools, and they know what the immediate needs are. I mean, I had a need yesterday. They needed protractors and compasses at Central High School for teachers who didn't have them in their classrooms or students didn't have them.
Wow.
We were able to meet that need quickly, and I got it filled by, you know, the end of the day. Some needs are longer, you know, take longer to fill, but having that cash on hand, we can get them filled and get them out the door, and that's the goal, is to get these needs filled quickly.
You wanted to make a personal donation, can you just go to the website?
Yes, you can, thank you. Yes, and you can either designate it for one of the needs, or it can just be a general donation. Field trip fees, band fees, all of that can be funded if the need, you know, if the need is posted.
Council doesn't give me any discretionary money.
Well, thank you.
I'm just kidding.
But
But in all
I-
seriousness though, I mean, I know there's probably people that would wanna, just who may be listening to today's finance committee meeting, may wanna give. but
Oh, that'd be
I certainly
great.
would like to do something personal.
Yeah, and would also love to build our subscriber list. That's something we're really working on.
Okay.
Is adding to the number of people who subscribe, and that way when a new need is posted, you would get an email and then could immediately go and look and see if it's something you'd like to fill. And we do only take new items, you know, clothing. We ask that they be new because we just don't, you know, somebody's idea of what is gently used and somebody else's might be different. And we want our students to know that they matter enough that they can have a new coat or a new pair of shoes or whatever the need may be, so.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you very
Appreciate what
much.
you do.
Thank y'all for your consideration, and please get these to other council members.
Oh, yeah.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any additional business to be?
Need to vote on
Oh, I'm sorry, thanks. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
disbursement is approved. Any additional business to be brought before the finance committee? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?